Welcome back to the Mysterious Challenger Cup, brought to you by Multiplay for the Insomnia Truesilver Championship, the $30,000 tournament taking place at the end of this month. We're of course here for one player to win an all-expenses-paid trip to the tournament, their travel, their hotel, their accommodation, everything they need while they're here in the UK for that big tournament. And we've seen a lot of big players fall here, Alex, and we've got one more game left tonight before we bring you our final 5 rounds tomorrow.
Yeah, we have Fr0zen and ThuFull, I think is the way his name goes, I guess. It looks straightforward enough, but yeah, mainly focusing on Fr0zen here. I don't know too much about ThuFull, to be honest, but Fr0zen plays for Athletics, so pretty well-known NA team overall, and you know the team as a whole has been performing pretty well. They had a couple of players in the NA prelims, which I believe Fr0zen was as well. I think he's probably more known for reaching really high and finishing really high on ladder. In the NA ladder quite often, so I'm expecting quite a lot from him. I know he's got some teammates and some fans in the chat as well, wanting to see them do well. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to this match.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll see what ThuFull has up his sleeve, I guess, to deal with Fr0zen. I mean, he has won a minimum of 2 matches already just to get to this point, and we've seen a number of big name players, top pros, winners of majors, have been unable to do that. So yeah, this is definitely a contender. Any of these players could win. We saw guys like the Visual who nobody had heard of before the last Insomnia Truesilver Championship. Visual won the UK qualifier, got there, beat Soto, an established UK pro in the final of that, and then made it to the top 4 of the tournament. So an impressive result for him. Guys like Ness and Board Control as well, who are UK players, who came through the Swiss at Insomnia itself and made it to the group stages.
Yep.
And you could do that as well, even if the players who haven't won this cup, or if you're sitting at home thinking, damn, I missed out. If you haven't missed out on your opportunity to play in the Truesilver Championship, you can do that. You can just turn up, get yourself a BYOC ticket. They are still available. You can turn up and play and sign up. There are, I think, 200 spots available in the Swiss, and you can have a chance of winning $30,000.
Yeah, it's a pretty good tournament. I would definitely go. I've played Insomnia tournaments for the past couple of years now. I won't be playing anymore at the moment, at least. But yeah, a really good tournament, a really good event in general. Like the event is huge. Like the venue's awesome. Lots of stuff to do as well, and even a tournament afterwards if you don't make it through Swiss on the Friday.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. The Redemption Cup, which is £2,000 prize pool, so that's like $3,500, $3,000 prize pool on the second and third days that you can enter if you don't make it through the Swiss. So you've got 2 chances if you come to iSeries to win prize money. Well, let's not waste any time. Let's get into our final game here. I tell these players to go. That's the wonders of production and casting, as you have to listen to me tell them to go at the same time.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm sure everyone can cope somehow. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what these guys have brought. Again, just it's really difficult to judge someone who's like, or at least from my knowledge of Fr0zen, I might be completely wrong, but very like hardcore ladder player. But you always wonder how the players like this do in an actual tournament environment, as it is very different. But I have no doubt that this guy's plenty good enough to do well here. And this is a round 4 game, I believe. So he's already doing pretty well. And if he does this round, he'll move on to tomorrow to finish off the rest of the tournament.
Absolutely. So let's get into this game here, as it is going to be Fr0zen versus ThuFull. Fr0zen on the bottom here, starting off with Freeze Mage against the Druid of ThuFull.
Yeah, so ThuFull actually got a pretty good matchup here. As we can see, Fr0zen, as you said, is playing the Freeze Mage. But again, this is definitely not a guaranteed thing. There are no guaranteed things in Hearthstone.
Yeah, the lineup of these players, we have Druid, Warlock, and Mage for Fr0zen. And then we have Rogue, Druid, and Warrior on the side of ThuFull.
Yeah, so going to be an interesting one. But even this opening hand is not great for Fr0zen. He's going to probably throw the 2 burn cards in the form of Fireball and Pyroblast, and actually keep Mad Scientist up. But ThuFull's got a pretty decent opening. He's got Innovate. He's got Innovate Shade if he really wants to build that up quite late, or he can actually go into an early-ish Fr0zen. But overall, his hand isn't fantastic. You definitely want the Wild Growth to be able to just like get overall ramp as opposed to like 1-turn ramp that the Innovate gives you.
Yeah, we can see some card draw here early for Fr0zen. Freeze Mage does want to hit those stages of the game at the right times. You want to hit the card draw and then the delay and then the burn. So the Mad Scientist and the Arcane Intellect. Mad Scientist is really crucial that it helps to thin that deck, and then Arcane Intellect to follow up as well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be good cards now. The Frost Nova is pretty huge, and if you can just get that Doomsayer as well, because it pretty much just demands Keeper of the Grove from the Druid, or they can be in all sorts of trouble. But hello, like Malygos Freeze Mage, which is actually pretty awesome. This allows you to do some very, very crazy stuff and burst from a much wider range over the course of a turn or so.
Yeah, this is pretty nice. It's going to be a little bit of a surprise factor as well for ThuFull. He isn't necessarily going to expect Malygos Freeze Mage.
Yeah, it's not completely like, off to one side. Like, Malygos Freeze Mage is actually a deck a fair few people play, but it's not common enough to expect it. You're definitely expecting the Archmage Antonidas variant, or you're expecting like the Laughing's list, which is no Archmage, but things like double Torch, double Fireball for a lot more straight off burn.
Yeah, and we see a Reno as well, which is really interesting. So Malygos and Reno, this is a very different Freeze Mage from what we saw Phone Tap playing earlier on.
Yeah, this is definitely a pretty cool deck, and we're going to see how sort of prep the ThuFull. There we go. I much prefer that if it was just ThuFull. Much easier to say.
I'm just calling him ThuFull.
ThuFull. Okay, it's probably a bit harsh, but okay.
Well, it's also a dialect thing, because fool is how you say both fool with double O's and fool with a U.
That's how you say
where I come from.
Yeah. But this Emperor being up for 2 turns is actually massive. Giving Druid, look how cheap this combo is going to be. I'm half surprised he didn't charge with the Druid of the Claw, to be honest. Like, that would have put him to 20, and he has a 5-mana combo. He could combo next turn if it's not cleared.
Yeah, obviously Druid is generally favored against Freeze Mage, and I don't think we're going to be seeing any disapproval of that rule here.
Yeah, definitely. This is just such a rough start for Fr0zen. There's still a chance he can come back. He has the Frost Nova Doomsayer, and he does have Healbot as well. And you know what? This Emperor's going to get another tick. Oh my god. I think you play Shredder here.
Really?
Yeah, of course you do. Why wouldn't you play Shredder?
I guess.
You want a minion, right? You have combo in hand that you can cast. I think you almost always play Shredder here. Is he just going to, Hero Power pass?
I guess that's the other option.
Yeah. He could, combo if he wants and actually just kill the Doomsayer and get another tick off Emperor. But combo's so much burst when there's no secrets up. The only worry is Mad Scientist is going to give him a secret. So this might be where warranting, Force of Nature and potentially actually Force of Nature innovate Hero Power to just kill the Doomsayer.
Yeah, he is looking at the Force of Nature here. So yeah, it looks like he is going to value keeping on board. I do like this here. Actually, I'm going to combo.
Yeah, he can, still push for damage with this as well. He still does 4 more damage if he wants to take it that way. Maybe he kills the Thanos, so pushes just for 4. Does he kill the Scientist? I don't see why not. Okay. Yeah, he's just going to go face, get the damage, and then force the actual trade from the Mage with the Scientist, because you'd blow 4 damage otherwise, right?
Yeah. Well, double Frostbolt in Iceland, so some burst being picked up here for Fr0zen. Does allow him to pick off this Fr0zen finally. But now there's a 0-mana Shade, a 2-mana Azure Drake, a 2-mana Piloted Shredder, and a -3 mana Innervate.
And also bear in mind that there's no AoE in Fr0zen's hand, so the ThuFull could just spam, look at his hand. He could play all his minions and probably innovate out anything else he draws because he has all the mana. He'll have 2 mana float, so he could actually innovate out Swipe if he really felt like it. Not that he's probably going to, but still.
Yeah, that's an interesting trivia fact of Hearthstone that some people might not know, is that 0-cost cards do actually get reduced below 0. It's just not displayed on the card. So if a Lotheb was to be played, for example, that Innervate would cost 2, not 5.
Yeah, and that also comes into effect on things like Molten Giants,
yes.
especially when they're freezing trapped and stuff like that.
It gets super complicated.
Yeah, you need to remember what the hell went on. But Cold Light Oracle, again, probably a nod towards the Reno in this deck. You play other cards, instead to play as many 1-ups as possible to give you a much higher chance at Reno.
Yeah, Cold Light Oracle also something that when I've seen Malygos Freeze Mage played by people like Teray, Malygos Freeze Mage with Cold Light Oracles was pretty common from him. And generally, actually, those are two cards that I've seen paired together, which is interesting. I'm not really sure why or what the thought process is, but generally, when you see one, I've seen the other in a lot of tournament decks. Because I guess you need to draw cards more aggressively, I guess.
Yeah. So this goes to Frostbolt, tries to get lucky with a Doomsayer, I suppose, but then just follows up with a Healbot, which is fine. The mage is still quite a lot of health, and as the turns go on, the impact of that earlier Fr0zen isn't too heavy, as all the other cards now that he's drawing into aren't reduced. So you can actually, play a bit more of a standard matchup.
Here's the swipe, so you're just gonna swipe face here, and I guess Hero Power to take down this 3/3. Just looking to get damage in here. And then, at what point do you play the Shade? I guess.
I think.
I like playing it now. I think there's very little argument to not play it now, because if your opponent had Flame Strike on turn 7, they would have played it.
Yeah, I think it's okay to play it now. If he held on to it, I wouldn't be too upset, because if the Flame Strike does come out, then you want something good to follow up with. But yeah, there's no real reason not to play it now, as you said. The Flame Strike probably would have been used by now if he actually had it in hand.
Yeah, I think there's no argument he would have used the Flame Strike by now, so just going to use that Ice Lance to freeze the board and stall a little bit. Not a great use of it. Particularly when you've got the Malygos as well. The Ice Lances are such a crucial part of that combo.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, because I honestly just don't know what's in this Fr0zen's Mage deck. And it'll be interesting to see how far he is towards Reno being activated or not. Because I honestly just don't know. I'm going to hold my hands up pretty quick.
It's probably very similar to the Reno freeze that we saw right at the start of Reno in terms of what it brings doubles of. So probably double Scientist, double Secrets, double Doomsayer, double Nova, double Ice Lance, double Frostbolt. Maybe double Arcane Intellect, though the Cold Light Oracle might be a substitute for Arcane Intellect.
Yeah, I think it will be, because you play one Acolyte, one Cold Light, one Arcane Intellect for your card draw, I suppose.
One Loot Hoarder, one Novice Engineer if you're going super card draw.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens now as the smoke continues. And does he silence would be sick, actually.
Yeah, I like the silence on the Scientist.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. That's kind of weird.
Because then you force him to have... Oh, there's the Flame Strike. But
he can actually he clears the board with this.
Yeah.
It's pretty huge. Which I think at that point, there was a point not to play Boom because of the Flame Strike there.
Yeah, I think so.
You play a bit heavily into Flame Strike because everything on board plus a Flame Strike clears your board, which kind of sucks for you. But Ancient of Laws, pretty big pickup, especially with an Innovate. So you can maybe squeeze out another minion or so, like a Piloted Shredder, for example. And this is going to be pretty huge. Reno might get dropped again. I don't think we've seen all the doubles, though, yet, unless I'm miscounting. And Fr0zen's already looking like he might just slam Malygos.
So Malygos just coming down to be a threat.
Yeah, I think this just ends the game, to be honest, because the silence will come down on Malygos. So it's just a 4/12. And then he can prot the block this turn, so...
Yeah.
Wild Growth's going to be used to draw, because all he needs to do is silence, prot the block, and try and draw into, another Druid of the Claw charge, or
Savage Roar.
another, Savage Roar, or something like that.
Living Roots is also good. If you can prop the block in the right order. So you can pop the block at 1. Yeah, you can pop the block at 1 really easily. And then you've got Living Roots.
No, double Living Roots, come on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, you have the Living Roots already.
Yeah.
You've got that extra 1 damage reach. Well, let's see. Fr0zen will know whether or not you can play Reno.
Oh, well, there's an Arcane Intellect. So he can play, probably Arcane Intellect, maybe Reno then? I mean, I don't know. I honestly just don't know how close he is to selecting all his cards.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's in the deck. Doomsayer, we have seen one Doomsayer already. There's a second Ice Block. Let's see if the Reno hits.
It must hit, right? Because he would have played Ice Block otherwise.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So Reno does go back up to 30. There's a Force of Nature. So how do you change tack here if you're the Full?
I think you just continue. I think you now that with the Malagos can't burst you heavily. There's 8 damage on board, but I think you have to go aggressive because you've seen the Reno now. You've seen so many cards. You know he's only got 1 OBS left, so you just push. He has Force of Nature, double Living Roots. You know, if something like big comes out that he can't deal with, it might just be worth playing the game at this turn because like what's there actually going to be GH in this deck? Like I don't think there's anything.
No, there's not. There's nothing. So yeah, you might as well. He's just going face. I like it.
Yeah, I think he has to. He's seen Reno. He's already seen a heal bot. There's not really any healing left.
There is a Blizzard. And actually, playing the Liverwoods with the Saplings here, potentially, it maybe does bait out a Blizzard. Because you make him think that you've got something like... It makes him think you've got the full combo.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to put more pressure on the board, but the Blizzard was always going to be played anyway. There's no reason not, because he can Blizzard and then just go face himself and pressure, because there's no way out of this Blizzard for the Druid. Like, if he silences his own minion, I think he's already seen both Keeper of the Groves.
And you Cold Light here. I think I might like to have seen the Cold Light there, just because you have no burn in hand apart from Pyroblast. Yeah,
but he... for this forces a hero power from the Druid, or he loses next turn. Without like the Druid of the Claw, I mean, you know, like based off what Fr0zen can see.
Yeah.
Because what this does is set up potential lethal, or the Druid has hero power, and if you Cold Light, you're actually feeding the Druid cards as well. And the Druid's got the slight advantage in the fact that you don't have Ice Block up, and the Druid's got sort of the better minions on board, sort of.
Yeah, I guess in terms of setting up for the lethal with the Pyroblast, I guess. But this is why Pyroblast is a card that some people have cut, just because you have to really telegraph it so heavily, I think. Because if the Full is clever, he knows that's what was being set up.
Yeah, what's kind of crazy though is there's actually what is the play? I think we're probably going to see Cold Light Ice Block almost certainly this turn, but he needs to draw into something to get rid of that Druid of the Claw and get an attack in with his minion. I mean, Fireball would be insane. Oh, so we're probably going to see Novice first then. That obviously is better.
Interesting, Novice is replacing Loot Hoarder in a lot of Western freeze decks. Here's the Fireball.
Oh my god.
That's huge.
So then Ice Block happens, I think?
Yeah, I would assume.
Or does he... Yeah, Ice Block has to happen.
Yeah, I think you have to Ice Block, because you have to play around combo as best as you can.
Yeah, and you know what's actually pretty interesting? Like, he Ice Blocks, and this 1-1 suddenly needs dealing with, believe it or not, because... it negates the armor of the hero power, which is pretty big. Fr0zen's still 1 off, even because of that 1 armor that wasn't dealt with last turn. So we can't just like hit and then go, oh, I've got lethal with Pyro. You know, next turn guaranteed, which is the way you normally play. You normally either Pyro to put them onto like 6, where you can Fireball ping the following turn, or you set up, like, put them down so low that they can't heal past Pyro. So Ice Block comes down, and I'm pretty confident he has to smoke here.
Yeah, I think so. You have to try and set yourself up in a world where Pyroblast is lethal.
Yep. Because the thing is as well, like, if you... hang on. So he has 9, 10, 13. So he still needs to... So he needs to play Force of Nature this turn. But the issue is now, he's put the ThuFull in the position where he can't put the block and clear the board.
Well,
so
this is how you
win
as
dead.
Freeze Mage.
I think he's just dead, yeah.
Yeah, this is how you win as the Freeze Mage. You just put your opponent in a situation where they have an impossible choice, and that's when you can get a really great Alexander, for example, where they have the choice of blocking your Ice Block and doing damage to set themselves up for lethal, but then you have lethal with Alexander. Or this is how you win the game.
Yeah, and now he has to clear. He's not quite won yet, because I think he. Oh.
If he Living Roots the 1/1, rather than...
well, you can Hero Power.
Well, no, if he Hero Powers... Yeah, so if he Hero Powers, he goes to 11, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so he's just alive here. I think... So 1 Fireball we've seen. We've seen 1 Frostbolt. So we'll see what Cold Light brings. Blizzard is huge. Stalls the game.
Yep.
Put something on the board.
This is kind of weird though. I don't know if I like. Yeah, the Blizzard's fine actually. I'll take it all back. Because the thing is, if he didn't Blizzard and ping instead, then Armor Up puts him out of Pyro range again. So he needs to just try and get something on the board to push for more than 1 damage. But this is such a tight game, and this heal again is going to make it worse. I think there's still a torch in the deck, but now we might see Alexstrasza just get dropped down. We'll see.
Yeah, there's more than likely a torch in the deck. There's this Fr0zen he was looking for quite a while ago.
Yeah, so suddenly Fr0zen, Loot Order, and maybe even a Doomsday as well. Maybe not Doomsday actually, because he could ignore it. Yeah, I take all that back.
And yeah, I think you... Okay. I kind of like the trade here, but...
No, you want to put him as low as possible for Pyro.
Yeah.
Because, like, the trade doesn't matter because he's either got combo and pops the block or he hasn't. But if he hasn't, you win. So he has to keep trading. So he's never going to pop the ice block. So you don't need to trade yourself because you're almost guaranteed that the druid's going to trade for you.
Right.
So you take the extra damage as and when you can get it.
We'll see how he's going to line up this damage here. This Wrath really helps because it means he can keep the Fool can keep the 5/5 Ancient Lore alive.
And just to mention, the Druid only has 3 cards in hand, whilst the Mage only has 2. So pretty crazy.
Well, the Druid has 3 in the... Yeah, sorry, you mean in deck.
Hmm?
You meant in the deck, right?
Yeah, that's what... Sorry, yeah. I meant, like, what cards left, yeah.
Well, this is difficult. How do you win this game here? So well, yeah, he's going to Frost Nova Doomsayer. And I just say we have 3 cards left for the Druid. We'll see what cards are they is the question.
Well, one's a cycle card.
Yeah. Do you cycle that here? I think you do.
I don't know. I'm thinking. Yeah. Oh, okay. So what you can do now is did he take 1 fatigue or not? Was that his last draw then?
That was his last draw, so he'll take a fatigue this turn.
Yeah. So I think the Thull's just won
going to combo.
Because you just combo and then you win next turn. Yep.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
You
no, you don't though.
You do. You combo him to 2.
Yeah, but you can't combo him to 2 because he froze your face.
Ah, that's very good actually. Yeah.
Yeah, the ice slap, really good heads up play from Fr0zen.
Oh yeah. That's pretty good. I mean, I don't think it'll.
Well, now he has to trade. Yeah, so he has to combo into the Alex, otherwise he's dead to Pyro.
Yeah, this is fine, and then because he still has swipe, right?
Yeah, so he's got swipe and shade.
Yeah, what a game. I mean, it's not often you see Druid versus Mage go to pretty much fatigue on both sides. There's only 1 more card left for the Druid, but that was actually crazy. I'm quite impressed, especially with the start that the Druid had, that Fr0zen managed to even stay in it and looked potentially winning it. Like,
it's such an unfavourite matchup for Freeze Mage as well.
Yeah.
It's so unfavourite. The Druid is really heavily favoured in that matchup. So what does Fr0zen have left in his choices? He has Druid himself or Warlock. Depends what Warlock he's got, I guess. If it's Zoo, then obviously you're definitely going into the Druid here. So
I think it might be Zoo. I might be wrong, but I think it almost feels like it should be Zoo as the dogs have gone crazy again.
And Dog has to get one last go in our last game of the day, and it is Zoo for Fr0zen. So yeah, this is a pretty decent matchup, and this is, like we said earlier, this is kind of how Last Year Standing is supposed to work, this counter picking, and you end up with whoever has, I guess, the best lineup that lines up against your opponent's lineup, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, and it is the Zoo list, so Fr0zen probably going to be feeling pretty good, especially because ThuFull's hand looks pretty terrible. Living Roots is actually amazing early on, maybe not when there's a Voidwalker in hand, but in general good versus more aggressive decks, but the 2 Ancient of Laws, a little bit slow.
Yeah, so if ThuFull does lose here with the Druid, he has the Rogue and the Warrior, so definitely not out with the realm of possibility that he could come back against the Zoo, but they would have to go through the Druid as well. So this matchup very much not decided by the first one. Some Last Year Standing matches can be, just because one player can just steamroll with their lineup, or their lineup just, once they've eliminated one deck, they're just so favoured against the other 2, but this one is going to be interesting.
Yeah. I think the two ways you go here are either Void Walker or Coin Creeper. I don't think it's worth coining Peddler because it just dies.
Yeah.
But like Creeper could be pretty okay, especially because you have PO. Void Walker would be fine, but with Void Walker, you sort of say you're not going to Wild Growth this turn.
Yeah, I think he's going to go for the Coin Creeper here, which I just say I definitely like because the trade is not very efficient at all. Innervate would be a big pickup, but doesn't get it. So just going to be, I guess, a Wild Growth for Fr0zen here to go into that Shredder for turn 4.
Yeah, Wild Growth is fine. I mean, if you have Wild Growth, you pretty much always want to play it turn 2. There's very little scenario where you feel threatened enough to not play it because the payoff is normally worth it a little bit later in like the next following 1 to 2 turns.
Yeah. So Peddler coming down this turn and gets Void Walker's a good one.
Corruption might be better though against Druid. Against Druid, yeah. So if he plays Druid of the Claw, like it depends what you're expecting. Void Walker's good immediately, so we see the pickup there. So now he can like Nerubian Void Walker next turn. And still have a Void Walker as like a speed bump later on, to like soak up like a Druid of the Claw hit, which is obviously good.
Yeah, no, definitely. There is definitely something to be said for Corruption against, like something that gets double innervated out. Gives you a huge amount of ability to regain the tempo with Corruption. Do you ever think there was a world that we would say Corruption is a good card to play in a competitive match?
What, picking from Peddler?
No, I just mean before Peddler.
Oh, before? Probably not, because it's like... The problem with Corruption is the card is good, but it's a slot in your deck where there are other good cards, which is why Corruption can be really good in certain matchups from Peddler, because it's not a slot in your deck at that point. So that's why Corruption's kind of good, and why I really like Discover as a mechanical.
Look, absolutely. I mean, it's the same with like Reliquary Seeker. So if you have the minions on board or have the potential to have the minions on board pretty soon, Reliquary Seeker is a great pickup of Dark Peddler, but you would never put it in your deck.
Yeah. Well, there was a list that ran Seeker.
Was there?
A while back. Yeah. It was like the double Implosion, double Sea Giant, Seekers, in-gang bosses. It was basically Sea Giant Zoo, but with Seeker and maybe a couple of other different cards. Some people, it was like Elky played it at DreamHack Winter, and so did, I think Sol might have played it as well.
Didn't go that well for them, did it?
I think Sol did okay. Did Sol get top 8 or
right.
top 16?
I think he was he not just outside top 16? I think he lost.
Oh, did he?
Did he not lose like a... You were there casting. I was just watching. Did he not lose like a playoff?
That was a long time ago.
Did he not lose like a playoff to not get through? I
don't know. Maybe. I'm going to pass.
Pass on that question.
This is interesting. Living Roots to kill a minion into Shredder. So this is really weird. Like ThuFull's actually playing around PO on that egg, but I don't know if you actually play around it. I don't know if that play was that great. I mean, you still have a Shredder on board, so it's good. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's a tough one. PO's going to come down anyway and be followed up by potentially tap into Void Walker. Seems reasonable.
Yeah, definitely a turn where Fr0zen can help to establish his board here, and ThuFull running out of cards a little bit. He's going to really want to pick up some card draw here fairly soon.
Okay. That's interesting.
Well, I think
he has to kill it.
Yeah, I was going to say you trade into this, absolutely.
I was just thinking if there was, with what he had in hand, if there was any way he could actually clear the opponent's side of the board.
Yeah, he's just going to tap into the Void Walker, and there's the Void Caller as well. That's interesting. So this is maybe more towards a Demon Zoo than the kind of Sea Giant Board Rush Zoo we've seen in in recent tournaments.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. You know what? The deck's still not bad. Like, it's not like this version is bad at all.
No, I mean, there's a
lot
of
power
decks right now.
The caller is insane.
There's a lot of decks right now. I mean, as you say, Demon Lock, Hand Lock, particularly among the Warlock decks, I think, that are definitely not bad. They're still really good decks. They're just better versions of, like, there's a better version of Control Warlock, which is Reno Lock. So you play Reno Lock instead of Hand Lock.
Yeah. So, I mean, we still see some Demon Lock as well as, like, Demon Hand Lock, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's some players that still run that. I think some players run it in the Hearthstone Champions League and in PGL as well. So, You know, still some of those knocking around. Not completely gone, but this is kind of interesting. He's going to go for the hero power down onto the 5-1 now, and the Flameston Totem kind of interesting, a bit useless at the moment, especially with no more minions in hand. But hey ho.
Oh, I swear tomorrow we'll have no dogs on the cast. Yeah, the Flame Tongue Totem is one you have to worry about. I mean, Force of Nature with Flame Tongue Totem is really problematic, so you may see Fr0zen go for an implosion on it here, but I doubt it. It's more likely we'll see a Knife Juggler implosion onto the Druid of the Claw. And we'll see if we can kill it. Gets 3. It's a little bit awkward, so we'll see how they land here. Can I get the 3rd? Oh! Unfortunate there. Nearly got all 3 onto the Druid.
Yeah, that was super close, but definitely a risky one though. You know, you'd probably, to feel a lot better about that, you have to roll a 4 there. Because the problem is that if it was just the Druid of the Claw, then your odds are so much higher. But with this second minion with 3 health, like that's definitely a bit of a risky one.
And Keeper of the Grove can kill the Knife Juggler here, but also Swipe is very tempting. But I guess he also is thinking that he wants to develop a minion with no other minions in hand.
To be honest, I think that you could just do both. Like, you just Keeper of the Grove face. Also, no, you Keeper of the Grove the 3/2 and Swipe face. For the extra damage.
You definitely don't do it the other way around.
Yeah, that's just called losing damage, which isn't the correct play.
Yeah,
unless there was a threat of Mortal Giants.
Sure. But you're pretty sure this is Zoo, so it's unlikely. Is that not going to swipe? I assume if he's hitting the 1/1, yeah. So yeah, Void Caller is good, but especially with a second Void Caller in hand, being able to chain together those Void Callers is pretty good.
And also just the mind games a Void Caller causes.
Yeah,
it's like, what if that's Mal'Ganis? You know, what if that's Jaraxxus? What if it's like the Dread Infernal?
But what if it's absolutely nothing?
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes you're compelled to go for it, even when you just don't have an answer. And even like this second, if you put out a second Void Caller, like that kind of can potentially give a nod to the ThuFull saying, oh, he still has demons in hand, because you wouldn't not play. You know, if that was your only demon, you'd probably leave the Void Caller and play other minions. But it's not. So like, I like playing the second one here. And it's just like, now do I have 2 demons in hand? Is it Mal'Ganis and Jaraxxus? And then you just lose. Like,
I don't know if that was deliberate mind games, but did you see that just as after he played the second Void Caller, they just lightly tapped the Big Game Hunter, that leftmost card in his hand, sort of going, yeah, yep.
Well, at PGL there was some players, I think, such as like Moody was actually, I believe it was Moody, would like purposely not almost rope almost every turn, but also like hover over and pretend to play like he's weighing up playing cards. You know, like when you can half drag them a bit.
Yeah.
Doing that every single turn to like sort of create some sort of mind game. But I think the only drawback of that is if you do it every single turn in every single game, everyone knows you do it. So definitely an odd one. And oh, okay. Oh my god. So you play the do you play the Flame Imp? Probably not. You might be okay getting that as a draw because you can play the Gang Boss anyway. But this is really nice.
You're just gonna play the Gang Boss here.
Yeah, you play both Gang Boss and get the Flame Imp for free. I think this is really nice.
Yeah, I think that it feels kind of counterintuitive because you think with Void Caller you want to get as many big minions out as possible with the Void Callers, but actually being able to avoid the Flame Imp damage when you're playing against Druid, it's not that relevant when there's a Shade on board, but it does potentially help you later on.
Well, the thing is, it's relevant against things like double Savage Draw or Druid of the Claw Savage Draw. You know, like it's not all just about the straight up full combo damage, but this is nice as well because there's still that 1 minion left in hand. And this is probably the least swipeable board I've ever seen. It's actually ridiculous.
And you think about when he held on to that swipe before. He held on to it in the face of a Knife Juggler and 3 Imps, which would have been a great swipe board.
Yeah, what's interesting about this is this stops something like a Mal'Ganis being played.
Yeah, that's true as well. It does fill the board.
And the Defender of Argus. So this swipe's actually maybe the most swipeable board in this position. because it just stops minions being played because of the 2 stealth. So this is pretty crazy. Maybe that second gang boss was a bit too much.
And Savage Roar, I mean, Savage Roar top deck is lethal.
5, 7, 8. Drew the Claw. If there's is there a second one? I can't remember.
I think there might be Swipe is also lethal. Yeah, so lots of outs for the full here.
Oh, Ancient of Law. He can still innovate a Druid of the Claw. I think.
Yeah.
Or Force.
Here.
Savage Roar.
Savage Roar. That's it.
Oh my god. That's
and the
nuts.
full is going to go 2-0 up against Fr0zen with a top decked Savage Roar.
That swipe won him the game.
Actually, did we called it bad?
That's so weird.
But
that
actually,
is such a weird situation.
Filling the board and being able to avoid the defender of Argus turned out to be really good. Okay.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. That's actually pretty nuts. That and that's again like a sort of nuance of the game that a lot of people don't think about in terms of leaving space. Like something that happens a lot against Freeze Mage is that you'll fill the board.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
But then you'll play like Frostnova Doomsayer and you can't owl it because there's no room on the board to play the owl. So that's something you really always have to be aware of. And that was a bit unfortunate for Fr0zen, especially because he did draw the Argus, but hey ho.
We see a Black Knight in the deck for Fr0zen in his Druid Mirror match.
Yeah, it's going to do some work. This is the matchup where it probably does the most work, I believe, because the swing turns are so hard. Like, you know, turn 5 Druid of the Claw into turn 6 Black Knight in it, you remove their 4/6 and add your 4/5 on the board, so it's pretty huge. 4/5, sorry.
I really feel like you Wild Growth here. I don't think there's any argument for Darnassus. Other than, I guess, you deny your opponent's Wild Growth.
Yeah, I mean, the reason for Darnassus is that you force a hero power potentially, or something for 2 mana. Well, you know what? He could Wild Growth Innovate Wrath.
Yeah, exactly.
Which sounds a bit heavy. I mean, he could just actually Innovate Keeper the Grove, now that he's drawn it. That would just be, like, fine as well.
He could, but he wouldn't get to Wild Growth that way.
No, but he has minions on the board to Wild Growth next turn. And he can, like, Wild Growth coin Wrath next turn, maybe.
Your dogs sound like cats, Alex. You really need to do something about this. Oh. As you say, tomorrow the dogs will not be taking part in the cast, unfortunately. For all you dog fans.
They're fine. I think they're tired. They're tired and grumpy.
There might be a dog in the TrueSilver Championship. I'll tease there for you.
Nice and subtle, Callum.
Yep.
Nice and subtle.
Well, tomorrow we will get to talk about some of the players who are going to be in the TrueSilver Championship. It's a very exciting player list indeed. So we will talk about that a little bit more as we reach our conclusion tomorrow. Yeah, it just goes for the Wrath on its own there. Forgoes the Wild Growth.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, he does have coin and innovate, so you know, pumping into that Ancient of Law, later in the game is going to be pretty powerful, I think.
And what do you do here if you're Fr0zen? Do you just go for your own Wild Growth now, or?
Yeah, I think it's fine. BGH on tempo BGH doesn't feel great in that scenario.
All right, so it's going to be a Wild Growth from the full here as well. Could coin Innervate Keeper if he wanted to, but I think that's very unlikely. Just be looking for an Innervate Ancient of Lore next turn. Yep, here comes the Azure Drake from Fr0zen. Picks up the first combo piece.
Oh my god, Fr0zen is just hoping against hope that there's a Druid of the Claw this turn.
Yeah, but he's not going to see it, unfortunately. It's going to be an Azure Drake. The wrong 5-drop.
And it's going to be probably Innovate Wrath, I imagine, here. Clear up the Drake pretty nicely. I mean, this is pretty, this is a swipe board, if there ever was one, but yeah, I mean, this is a pretty good play overall. Nice tempo. And you can still coin into Ancient of Law next turn, so he still follows up with like the ramp effect and being able to keep the pressure on Fr0zen here.
I mean, I guess you play Thaurissan here, but the Thaurissan does die straight away.
Yeah, I think that's fine though. I think you just get the value, because you do have a lot of good cards. Oh, okay, so he's going to innovate out Hero Power, which is interesting. Is there any reason? 5, 7... I'm just working out what he loses from innovating here. He's probably playing around Savage Roar, actually.
So what would Savage Roar have been? It would have been 6, 12, 14. Double Savage Roar would have been another 8. So it would have been 21.
Yeah, this is going to be coin Savage Roar to use the 1/1 to kill the 5/3 and then push. It's pretty nice. Puts another minion on board as well. So against Druid again, it's just one of those things where Druid's weakness is dealing with multiple minions at the same time. And in the mirror match, well, same weakness. You just get more minions on the board and they can't normally deal with it.
What's really nice about this for ThuFull is as well that he's had that Ancient of Lore as a playable option for the last 3 turns. He could have innovated it on turn 5, coined it on turn 6. But actually having passed up playing the lore 2 turns in a row, he can still play it on curve next turn, which is really good for him. So we're just going to see a Force of Nature from Fr0zen to clear this board. And it's one of the few tools to clear that the Druid has. Yeah, he doesn't even put the one into face. So yeah, not quite lethal yet for ThuFull, but he's just going to draw some more cards. See what he picks up. Gets a Shade, which is nice. He's getting very close to lethal here. It would be lethal. No, it would be 1 off lethal next turn with the swipe and the Keeper of the Grove. Fr0zen going to have to draw it as well. And he's going to Hero Power. I wonder if there was an argument for maybe playing the BGH there just as another threat. Does die to the 2/2, but Fr0zen's in a pretty desperate situation here. And there's the Savage Roar.
Is that lethal?
Savage
it must be, right?
6+7,
yeah, with
swipe. That is going to be it.
Oh.
ThuFull. A 3-0 with Druid here over Fr0zen, who was a player that you were talking up, Raven.
Yeah, I mean...
legend ranked player.
Fr0zen is a good player. That is not even remotely in question here, but he has definitely had the rough end of the stick in these matchups. And ThuFull, to be fair to him, you know, I'm not trying to say ThuFull's been lucky or anything like that. He's played pretty damn well himself and played all the matchups as well as he can. The Freeze Mage game versus the Druid was pretty close and pretty intense, but ThuFull's played really well. So, you know, he does take it 3-0 and you know, the power of Druid, as I'm sure everyone can appreciate, which will probably, potentially, maybe, you know, not be quite as crazy come standard. But for now, Druid's still a pretty good class with a pretty good deck and has the ability to 3-0 pretty heavily.
Yeah, there's a good chance the Truesilver Championship will be one of the last tournaments before standard hits. So we get to enjoy the combo Druid one last time before hopefully it gets changed. Well, that's your round 4, and not all the games have come to an end, but I think that is the end for us today. Let's take a look at the bracket and see who's going to be in our round of 32 tomorrow. We're going to have XL3N versus Strong Willed. We're obviously not bringing you all of these games, but these are the games we'll have. We have Russian Guy versus Ignace. We have obviously ThuFull versus Farm for Fame, who's a name I enjoy. Scruffy lost in his round 4 match, so it'll be Anglo Shaggy versus It's Bolt. We'll be bringing that match. Spo did advance to round 4, one of the SK Gaming guys, so he's going to face the winner of Bisel versus Swifty tomorrow. We have some more games going on there still. Hoy's little brother Nikolai, I believe it's little brother.
Little brother? It's twin brother.
Twin brother, sorry, yes.
It's absolutely identical twin brother.
Of course, yeah, it's the twin that I met, I forget.
And Astrogen's still in
Astrogation
as well.
Yes.
Astrodation, sorry.
Maybe if we do one of Hoy's brother, he's going to play Wellray tomorrow. If we do one of Hoy's brothers' matches, maybe we'll tell the story of us meeting Hoy's twin. We'll tease that for you tomorrow. Mager is still in the tournament. Floyd Mayweather still going strong. Hoy himself still there. So the Hoy brothers, both in the round of 32.
Yeah, it's something that just very briefly, like, Hoy's brother played in DreamHack as the dog goes crazy. Come here.
And Anakin lost in his round of 4 game as well. Freaky and Blackout are playing now. That's a very interesting one. One of those guys will make it through.
Yep.
You were saying... Raven.
Yeah, I was just saying that Hoy's brother played in DreamHack, and one of the first things I said to him when I met him was like, it's gonna sound silly, but do you actually play, or you just hear, with your brother and join it? And he's like, no, I play. And I was like, oh, okay. It's like,
has Subtle told you the story about Hoy at DreamHack?
It depends which story.
So
is it the one where he thought he had him for round 1 and it wasn't? It was his brother.
Yeah, so Subtle thought he had actual Hoy in round 1, and it was actually his brother, and the guy never showed up. And apparently Hoy punked out Subtle and went up to him and was like, "What the hell, man? I was here, I was waiting for you, and we were supposed to play. What are you doing? Trying to get a death win off me?" There you go. So
I do love the Hoys.
They're good guys. They're good guys. Hopefully we will see them at Insomnia. But so that's all from us for today. your first 4 rounds of the Mysterious Challenger Cup. 32 players remain for a field of around 500 that we started with. Of course, it was a 512-man tournament. Lots of players have gone out already. We'll be back with you hopefully at the right time tomorrow if everything goes to plan. Around 6:30 tomorrow evening UK time. And we'll bring you the final 5 rounds of this tournament until we have our VIP winner for the Mysterious Challenger Cup. Raven, any final thoughts?
No, just a good set overall. Very ruthless tournament, and the dogs will not be here tomorrow, so you'll get a very silent cast on my end. But thanks for bearing with us, guys. Unfortunate circumstance, but the dogs are just a bit tired. That's all. So they'll be gone.
Yeah, but I think it's been a little bit difficult getting this tournament started. A big open tournament. Thank you to our admins who've done a sterling job, and to the organisers as well. The sponsors, Game and Ballistics, who will of course be sponsoring the Insomnia Truesilver Championship. And we'll give you some more details on the player list and things like that. But for the Truesilver Championship tomorrow, it'll be very hype indeed. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Callum Leslie, and he's been Raven, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
Goodbye.